Memphis cops reportedly gave Tyre Nichols 71 commands in 13 minutes. So far out of the norm, Memphis police orders for Nichols were often simultaneous and contradictory. Video shows Memphis police officers shouted 71 commands at Tyre Nichols within a 13-minute time span before officially announcing over the radio that he was in custody, according to a New York Times analysis. The orders, which the Times described as often simultaneous and contradictory, were issued in two locations, first next to his vehicle, and the second to the area he fled and would be severely beaten. The Times said the newspaper analyzed all available video, which includes footage from police body cameras and street cameras, released by the city of Memphis on Friday. Despite modern police training calls for one officer at the scene to issue clear and specific commands to avoid escalation and confusion, Memphis cops did the exact opposite with Nichols while their body cameras were rolling. It's so far out of the norm. Jeffrey Alpert, a professor of criminology and criminal justice at the University of South Carolina, told the Times. Alpert explained that the phenomenon of contempt of cop, when officials would physically punish civilians for what they perceived as disrespect or disobedience, was more rampant in the 80s, but started to phase out in the 90s and 2000s, even before the widespread introduction of body cameras. 5 former Memphis Police Department officers, Desmond Mills, Justin Smith, Emmett Martin, Tadarius Bean, and Demetrius Haley, were charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and other offenses in connection to Nichols' death. All 5 charged ex-cops, to be arraigned in mid-February, are black. Memphis police said the department relieved from duty a 6th officer, Preston Hemphill, who participated in the initial traffic stop and use of a taser, but was not directly involved in the first and second scenes, where Nichols was physically abused and suffered severe injuries. As of Tuesday morning, Hemphill, who is white, was not facing criminal or departmental charges. According to Memphis Police's latest update Monday, a 7th officer was also relieved from duty following Nichols' death, but that officer has not yet been identified. Also Monday, the Memphis Fire Department terminated 3 EMTs, 2 of whom are black and 1 of whom is white, after an investigation into Nichols' death found they failed to conduct an adequate patient assessment on the victim, according to the fire chief Gina Sweat. The released video shows officers repeatedly demanding Nichols get on the ground, even though the man points out that he already is sitting on the ground. Nichols repositions to lying on the ground and is ordered to get on his stomach. "You guys are really doing a lot right now," Nichols says. "I'm just trying to go home." The officers also demand Nichols give them his hands, despite one cop already gripping Nichols' left arm and another gripping his right. When pepper spray is fired for the first time, Nichols pulls his hands free to shield his eyes. Nichols later flees on foot, where he is then beaten and doused with pepper spray at least twice more. He is also struck with a baton at least 3 times and kicked in the face. Nichols calls for his mother, and officers continue to shout commands despite his growing limp. An officer ultimately grabs his wrists and handcuffs Nichols without any apparent struggle, according to the Times analysis.